Alright guys, trying something a little different here. I'm going to break down some articles, and it's one article today at least, and go through what I think can make it better, to help it rank better, and just to make the writing better in general, because obviously we see a lot of content around the internet that could be written better to help with the ranking. So just a new little segment, giving it a go. But for today, I'm going to cover an article on Cook for Folks. Now, this is no diss on Income School. I actually started with Income School. They essentially taught me a lot of stuff, and I still have a soft spot for them. I really like their old content around writing blog posts. It's kind of how I learned initially, and I've added some more stuff on top. So nothing against Income School, but I thought it'd be interesting to go through this article because I came across this article and I was reading through it and I was like, damn, there's so much that could be done to make this better, and it might help you as a blogger, as your niche website builder, whatever you want to call yourself, to write better content. So this article ranks bottom of page 1 for what temperature should you serve sushi. And I'm just going to go through this. So this has nothing to do with the page or off-page stuff, links, domain, anything like that. This is purely just the content. That's the only thing I'm going to comment on. So let's start with the introduction here. So when serving food to others, it can be challenging to learn all the needed information to safely serve the food. Learning how to properly handle food is extremely important, especially raw foods like sushi. So what temperature should you serve sushi? Now, to me, this is very fluffy, and it doesn't tell me anything about temperature of sushi, you know? When serving food to others, it can be challenging to learn information to safely serve the food. Like, that has nothing to do with this. I think a better introduction for something like this would be like, yesterday I picked up sushi from my favorite sushi store. You know, it was the packet, it was warm or something. I didn't know if it was safe to eat, so I looked online and found some interesting information. Just maybe a little story on this. It could be something like, this is just off the top of my head, so these would obviously need refining, but sushi is one of my favorite foods. But sometimes I get offered sushi that is cold, and sometimes at room temperature. Is it safe to eat either one? You know, like more personal anecdote in that, and something that's just super quick and goes straight to the point. Then they have the answer paragraph. They haven't bolded it, which is interesting because that's kind of like their thing, and I still bought that. I mean, you could bold that, but sushi is best served at room temperature, which is around 70 degrees. Eating sushi at room temperature allows the different flavors to be pronounced. In hot months, it is okay. So, what temperature should you serve sushi? So, I think this is, sushi should be served between, and then maybe give I don't know if it's around 70 degrees, it's probably a range. So sushi is best served between, you know, within the range of between 65 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit, and the because should be, doesn't actually tell you why in this answer paragraph. So I want to know why in my answer. So sushi is best served between 65 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit because it is, you know, there's no bacteria growing on it. Bacteria cannot grow on it. It won't go off. They're better. It's more flavorful, etc., etc. Whatever the answer is there, versus telling me eating its room temperature will give me different flavors and it doesn't really answer the question of what I'm searching for. So that would be helpful. And then we have the lead-in, or I call it the lead-in at least. There is a lot of information that is beneficial to know when handling sushi. Okay, that it is important to, so when you see a lot of it is important to ensure, it kind of looks like it's AI written. Not that humans don't write it, but AI tends to overuse it. So I typically like to remove this as much as possible, because a lot of it is just fluff. Because you could just say, ensure that sushi, versus that is important to ensure. So, ensure that sushi is served at the correct temperature. Okay, so this doesn't really compel me to read on, right? So, for my intros, this could be a little personal anecdote. I could answer it directly. Then I could be like, but not all sushi is created equal. Some sushi is served hot and some is served cold. How do you know? Something that's like a little more intriguing rather than I compiled some information, if you know what I mean. Okay, so then we go to the headings. The correct temperature for sushi. Get rid of that slack stuff. The correct temperature for sushi. Okay, that's good. I like that. For many types of sushi, best served room temperature. Serving temperature allows sushi to be distinct. Okay, cool. Safe. When serving sushi, sushi rice should be somewhat warm. So we're already talking about serving it at room temperature. Okay. So, because of fish includes most sushi is consumed shortly after being rolled. Okay, that somewhat gives me the answer. The correct temperature for sushi. Actually, it just says room temperature. I think maybe adding some actual temperature numbers in there would probably be helpful. Not more so for the reader, but more so probably for Google, to be honest. Temperatures probably do help though, because room temperature can mean probably different things to different people. Why room temperature? I like that. Telling you, here we go. Raw fish and bacteria. That's what I want to see. Bang. How long can sushi be stored at room temperature? Yep, that's another good follow-on. It's important to store room temperature. Does not stay at room temperature for more than 2 to 4 hours. Perfect. I like that, and this is why. Cool. Then it gets interesting in this article, because these are all related to temperature of sushi. And then we go into types of sushi. Now, I understand what they're trying to do here. So they're trying to go into types of sushi and then kind of be like, okay, so this type of sushi should be eaten at room temperature or cold. But it doesn't really do that. So instead of staying on topic of type of sushi, they've gone types of sushi. Some contain raw fish, some contain cooked. There are 5 major types: nigiri, sashimi, etc. So nigiri can be served either cooked or raw fish, blah, blah, blah. Nigiri is not structured like most type of sushi. So, I mean, like this stuff, like this has nothing, like this whole paragraph has nothing to do with the topic. It's telling me the ingredients of nigiri. If I'm searching what temperature to serve sushi, I don't give a shit about the ingredients in nigiri. And then it goes on like nigiri, sashimi. So same thing. There's nothing about temperature in this. I thought they were actually touching on temperature. Okay, I must have skimmed over that. But either way, they're going into types of sushi. Nothing about temperature. So this is just kind of like filler content. And then we go into common types of fish used in sushi. This is where I kind of understand what they're doing, because they're saying, okay, some fish are safe to be consumed raw. But again, it's important that salmon is handled properly in order to avoid bacteria, but still nothing about temperature. It's just more fluff content on different types of. And then they go into cold served sushi. I can see potentially why this would be in there, but still warm served sushi. I think this stuff should have been covered way further up in correct temperature for sushi. Because under correct temperature for sushi, if you're saying sushi should be served between 65 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit or at room temperature because blah, blah, blah. And then you'll cover, but, it's different types of sushi. Cold served sushi should be served cold, straight from the fridge. It should not be left out. Warm served sushi, on the other hand, should be served at this temperature. And that should all come under this section, because you're trying to answer the question of the correct temperature to serve sushi, and you're going to go into all the different details about the different types of sushi and what temperature they were served at, if there are differences. But instead, it's kind of just like filler content, like, hey, this is deep fried sushi to make the warm temperature. Like, this doesn't answer my question again. Handling sushi safely. It is important to show that. Again, I mean, I guess like touching on like safe, like bacteria and stuff and but again, this doesn't have really anything to do with the temperature of serving sushi, because we're already going to cover why it should be the certain temperatures further up in the article. Sushi serves shortly after rolling, like guarantee. So here's more like those fluff things you get from AI. Whether it's AI or not, I don't know, but either way, but like any food, it is important to guarantee that. So you can be like any food, sushi being prepared by an individual who has, sushi should be prepared by an individual who has thoroughly washed their hands, instead of it is important to guarantee. So that's like AI fluff you need to take out of the stuff. And then you have benefits of cooked sushi. I mean, this shouldn't even exist in the article. There's no place for something like this in an article that is what temperature to serve the sushi. So I think this stuff should be gone. Can leftover sushi be see, now this is the part of the article. I mean, this could be a article on its own, but Again, we're seeing Google maybe change the idea of going after these long tail response post style articles, because this would be like a very quick answer. So this should be further up. This should be part of the article. This should be way up. Can leftover sushi be reheated? This should be, yeah, how long can sushi be stored at room temperature? And then boom, is it safe to reheat it? That is where that should be. That's a good heading. And it should be further up, because then you can go, you know, is it safe? How hot does it need to be? Tips for preparing sushi. Okay, again, this has nothing to do with the question. Yeah, this has nothing to do with the question. And then obviously, I like to take, I mean, you don't have to have a summary, but I really like Stephen Hockman. He did a really good on-page course, and he changed my mind on summaries, basically. And it's just kind of like making sure your keywords added near the bottom of the page again. So kind of when Google's going through it, you have like the very top, you have like that keyword within the body, and then at the very end kind of solidifies the intent of the article. So whether that's having a summary or having it within here, I think that would help a lot. But I mean, yeah, those are just some tips, I think, for anyone who is watching, who may be looking at improving, updating their articles or improving their writing. But those would be the big things. The introduction is a bit fluffy and doesn't really hit the intent. The answer paragraph, again, doesn't really give me the answer, because I want to know why. You know, it should be served at this temperature because. The lead-in is boring. It needs something a little to keep me intrigued to keep reading. I like these original headings, but I think they need the stuff further down needs to go into there, like the warm and cold sushi stuff. Why room temperature? I like that again. It's kind of giving me the reason why. I like this. How long? Then it should be, can you reheat it? And then that should basically be the end of the article. You don't need to pad the article out with all this other stuff. And a lot of this other stuff is fluff. But if you enjoyed this, please let me know, because I can keep doing these. You can send me some if you want, and I'll go through them. Again, I'm no expert on this. I just generally kind of enjoy writing my own articles, so I kind of get an idea of what works and what doesn't, and I'm just giving my take on it as a non-expert niche writer. But make sure you comment below, let me know, and send me anything if you want something broken down.